You know that feeling when something you love just disappears? Rear-wheel drive V8 sedans? They're gone? Dodge Charger? Discontinued 2023. Chevrolet SS? Dead 2017. Nobody makes them anymore, except one country kept making them. Until 2016, Australia. This is the Ford Falcon XR8, supercharged 5-liter V8, 470 horsepower. Rear-wheel drive, manual transmission available. 4 doors, actual sedan, the last of its kind. From a major automaker. October 7th, 2016. The final Falcon rolls off the line in Melbourne. And today? Shannons Auctions Australia just sold a 2016 XR8 Sprint for $110,000 Australian dollars. That's over $70,000 US for a 4-year-old Ford sedan. In the next 12 minutes, how America created the Falcon in 1960 and killed it in 1970. How Australia took it, evolved it independently for 46 more years. Created legendary V8 performance models that rivaled BMW cars. And why RWD use a rated final edition Falcons as investment-grade performance collectibles in 2022. If you love V8 South, rear-wheel drive, or the idea of a 400 horsepower sedan, this is the story of the last one standing. Let's go. Here's the roadmap. First, how America's Falcon became Australia's obsession. Second, the Performance Dynasty XR6 Turbo XR8 FPV that defined Australian car culture. Third, why October 7th, 2016 marked the end of V8 sedans globally. And fourth, what collectors are paying today. Based on Shannons and Lloyd's auction results, RWD evaluation data, and interviews with Australian automotive journalists who call this the greatest tragedy in modern automotive history. And you LLC why Australia keeping a car 46 years beyond America connects to 9 other stories worldwide. But first, 1960, Detroit, 1960. Ford Motor Company America launches the Falcon. Compact car, affordable, practical. America's answer to Volkswagen Beetle and import invasion. 6-cylinder engine, economical, simple, nothing fancy. Family car, commuter car, budget car. It sells millions in America through the 60s. But here's the thing, by the late 60s, America moves on. The Mustang launched in 1964, sporty, exciting, cooler than Falcon. Mid-size cars getting popular. Falcon feels OLD, outdated, 1970. Ford America discontinues the Falcon. 10 years of production, done. Replaced by Maverick and other models. For America, Falcon is history, a footnote. The car that birthed Mustang, then died. Except 9,000 miles away in Australia. This car was just getting started. Because Australia didn't just build Falcons. Australia evolved them into something America never imagined. Performance machines. V8 monsters. Icons of Australian car culture. What happened next would create a 46-year dynasty and produce the last V8 sedan any major automaker would ever make. 1960. Ford Australia starts building Falcons locally, same basic design as America. But Australia had different needs. Australian roads, rough, outback highways. Dirt roads, potholes. The Falcon's tough construction? Perfect for Australia. Australian culture, V8 South, big engines. Power. America might have loved economy. Australia loved muscle. 1967. Ford Australia does something America never did with Falcon. Drops in a V8 engine. The Falcon GT 289 cubic inches. V8 power. Performance sedan. Australia goes crazy for it. 1970s. America kills the Falcon in 1970, Australia keeps developing it independently. New generations, XA, XB, XC, all Australian designs now, bigger V8s, more power, more aggressive. The Falcon becomes Australia's muscle car, not Mustang. Falcon, 1980s and 90s. Australia evolves through more Falcon generations. XD, XE, XAA, AB, AB, F, H1 updated, modern, but always Falcon, always rear-wheel drive, always V8 available, always Australian, 2000. 21st century, America hasn't had a Falcon in 30 years. Australia, launching the AUD Falcon, then BA, then BF, then FG, modern safety, modern technology, but same formula, rear-wheel drive, V8 power, four-door sedan, and here's where it gets legendary, the performance models. XR6 Turbo, turbocharged inline 6, 370 horsepower, fast, XR8, naturally aspirated V8, 400 horsepower, brutal, FPV GT, Ford Performance Vehicles. Supercharged V8, 470 horsepower, four-door sedans that run with BMW M5S, Mercedes-AMG, Bathurst 1000, V8 Supercars Championship, Ford Falcon versus Holden Commodore, the Australian rivalry, decades of racing, national obsession. Ford versus Holden wasn't just cars. It was religion. Australian families. Dad drove a Falcon. Son drives a Falcon. Grandson will drive a Falcon. Generational loyalty. Blue oval blood. Police cars. Falcon XR6 turbo pursuit vehicles. Fast enough to catch anything. Taxi fleets. Falcon taxis everywhere. Spacious, tough, Australian. The Falcon became woven into Australian identity, not just a car. A culture.f 2013. Ford makes an announcement. Australian Falcon production will end. 2016 will be the final year. Why? Economics. Australian market too small. Only 24 million people. Can't sustain local manufacturing. Costs too high. And Australians were buying SUVs now. Crossovers. Imports. The V8 sedan market shrinking. Ford's global strategy. One platform worldwide. No Australia-specific cars. The Falcon was ONLY sold in Australia. Nowhere else. Can't justify the cost. 2014, 15, 16. Final years. Ford Australia knows this is IT, the end. They create special editions, final tributes, XR8 Sprint, limited production, supercharged 5-liter V8, 470 horsepower, 6-speed manual OR automatic, the ultimate Falcon, the send-off. Australian car enthusiasts buying them new, not to drive, to preserve, knowing this is the last V8 Falcon ever. The last rear-wheel drive performance sedan Ford will ever make. October 7th, 2016. Broadmeadows Factory, Victoria. The final Ford Falcon rolls off the assembly line. Workers crying. Some spent 40 years building Falcons. Families who bought Falcons for generations, watching the end. Media from around the world, documenting automotive history. That final Falcon? Kept by Ford Australia, preserved, serial number documented. Last of 56 years of Australian Falcon production. And for Australia, it wasn't just Ford ending. Holden Commodore ended too. No more local manufacturing. The END of Australian automotive industry. October 7th, 2016. The day the V8 sedan died. Because here's the thing. After that Falcon, no major automaker makes rear-wheel drive V8 sedans. Dodge Charger lasted until 2023. Gone. Chevrolet SS already dead by 2017. The Falcon was the last. So that's a sad story about Australian manufacturing, right? Except ... here's what happened after production ended. The market exploded. 2023. Shannons Auctions, Melbourne. A 2014 FPV GTF 351. Supercharged V8. 470 horsepower. Hammer price. $110,000 Australian dollars. That's over 70,000 US for an 8-year-old Ford sedan. Lloyd's Auctions, Sydney. 2016 Falcon XR8 Sprint. 5,000 kilometers. Garage kept. Sold. $95,000 AUD. These aren't outliers. Final edition Falcons are consistently selling $80,000, $110,000 AUD at Australian classic car auctions. Why? Simple. Last of breed. 2022. Haggerty USA Classic Car Insurance and Valuation Authority adds Australian Ford Falcon XR8 and FPV GT models to their classic car price guide. Their rating? Investment-grade performance collectibles. Haggerty's reasoning. Last rear-wheel drive V8 sedans from major manufacturer. Performance rivals European super sedans at fraction of price. Limited production numbers, especially final editions. And historical significance. End of an era. American collectors taking notice. Why? 25-year import rule. In 2041, Americans can legally import 2016 Falcons. Collectors already planning. These will be rare in U.S. market. Classic car insurance companies, Haggerty, Grundy, American Collectors Insurance already covering Australian Falcons for agreed value policies. Even though they're not in America yet. Forward-looking collectors buying now in Australia. Australian restoration market booming. Shops specializing in Falcon XR and FPV preservation. Numbers matching drivetrains. Original unmodified examples commanding 50% premium over modified ones. Why? Investment-grade collectors want original, modified Falcon? Cool car, still valuable. Stock original Falcon XR8 Sprint with delivery miles. Museum piece. RM Sotheby's planning 2025 Australian muscle car auction. Focus. Final generation Falcon GT FPV HSV Holdens. International bidders expected. These cars going global. Concours events in Australia. Final edition Falcons displayed. Preserved with original dealer plastic still on seats. 500 kilometers. Owners treating them like investments, not cars. And here's the global angle. With Dodge Charger dead, Chevrolet say that there's nitrogen monoxide alternative. Want a new rear-wheel drive V8 sedan from major manufacturer? Impossible. Want a US ED one? Australian Falcon is the last option. Scarcity creates value. And the Falcon? Scarce and historic. Performance credentials backing it up. XR8 Sprint. 0 to 60 in 4.7 seconds. Faster than contemporary BMW M5. Top speed, 155 miles per hour electronically limited. Could go faster. Nürburgring lap times competitive with European performance sedans. These aren't Australian curiosities. These are world-class performance machines. That happened to be the last V8 sedans ever made. So when people ask, why is a 2016 Ford worth $110,000? Answer, because they'll never make another one. No manufacturer will, ever. The Falcon is the end of the line. And the end of something ... is always valuable. Today, drive through Australia ... You'll still see Falcons everywhere, not final editions, regular Falcons. XR6 South, base models, families who bought them new, still driving them, refusing to sell, because for Australians, Falcon isn't just a car. It's identity. Ask an Australian over 30. Ford or Holden? That question means something deep. Family loyalty, regional pride, personal identity. Like asking Coke or Pepsi, but with passion. The Falcon represented Australian engineering, designed in Australia. Built in Australia, for Australia, tough enough for Outback, fast enough for Bathurst, practical enough for families. Police still drive old Falcons, too good to retire, too fast to replace. Taxi companies kept Falcons running long after production ended. And the V8 supercar racing series? Still using Falcon body shape years after production ended. Because fans demanded it. Couldn't let go. For Australia, losing the Falcon was like America losing ... on no? Baseball? Apple pie? Something fundamentally Australian? Broadmeadows factory where final Falcon built? Closed now. Drive past it today ... empty. Silent, but there's a memorial plaque, photos. Workers gathered October 7th, 2016. Here ended 56 years of Australian automotive pride. The Falcon's legacy proved Australia could engineer world-class performance. Proved V8 sedans could be daily drivers and track weapons. Proved you don't need European badge to compete with BMW or Mercedes. Australian badge, Australian engineering, Australian pride. That's the Falcon legacy. October 7th, 2016, the last Falcon. October 21st, 2017, the last Holden Commodore built in Australia. The end of Australian automotive manufacturing. The end of the Ford versus Holden rivalry that defined generations. The end of V8 sedans. Today, if you want a rear-wheel drive V8 sedan ... you can't buy one new. Doesn't exist. Anywhere. From anyone. The Falcon was the last. And those final Falcons, the XR8 Sprints, the FPV G2, they're not just cars anymore. They're artifacts. Historical markers. The last of a species that went extinct. 56 years. From 1960 to 2016, America created the Falcon and killed it in 10 years. Australia took it and evolved it for 46 more. Created performance models that beat European super sedans. Created a culture, a rivalry, a national obsession. And when it ended, Australians mourned. Because it wasn't just a car dying, it was an era. Those final Falcons selling for $110,000? They're worth it. Because you'll never see another one, ever. No major automaker will ever make a rear-wheel drive V8 sedan again. Too expensive. Too niche. Wrong market. The Falcon? The last one standing? The final V8 sedan? The end of an era you can still barely buy. That's the Australian Ford Falcon. The car that refused to die for 46 years, until 2016, when it finally did, and took the entire V8 sedan category with it. And that's why Australia kept the Falcon 46 years beyond America. But this is just the fourth story. Next video, Cuba. 1959, the revolution happens. Embargo begins. American cars from the 50s get trapped in Cuba. Chevrolet Bel Airs, Ford Fairlanes, Cadillacs from 1950s, still running today. 70 years later, Soviet engines, Chinese parts, homemade repairs. 50,000 classic American cars. Still daily drivers in Cuba. And if you missed previous episodes, Mexico's Beetle lasted 25 years beyond Germany. India's Ambassador 58 years unchanged. China's Santana still producing after 43 years. They're all there. This is cars that refuse to die. 10 countries. 10 cars that survived impossible odds. Everyone became collectible gold. Next episode, Cuba's frozen in time American classics. Hit play.